Hey, this is Andy with Airhead Box of Spirit. This is a quick video on how to access a K bike fuel tank where the fuel cap is stuck. Essentially, more than likely, your cylinder will have a couple broken bits and you cannot use the key to open your fuel cap. Obviously, this could be a pretty big problem when traveling, so I will show you how to remedy this. And you may actually want to do this before leaving on a trip so that you have an emergency access to your fuel tank. Alright, I didn't think I had to do this, but I guess I better. This K100 RS was given to me by a good friend. The next K100 that you'll see I purchased on Facebook Marketplace, sort of as a donor bike. Well, either of the bikes I could not access the inside of the fuel tank so that I could get to the fuel pump, fuel filter, etc. I do have the keys for these tanks, however turning the key did absolutely nothing. I presume the cylinder on the key lock is probably broken. So here's my way of getting into the tank. I don't recommend you do this at all. Please don't do this with fuel in the tank. Use some common sense and don't say that I told you to do this. Alright, first order of business, we have to establish essentially 23 millimeters from this hinge joint. So I'm just going to use a little bit of blue masking tape here, get this fairly lined up with the hinge joint, just like so. I like to do another one where I will be drilling, which will be somewhere in this area here. So essentially, what you want with your micrometer, set it to essentially 23 millimeters. Basically what you want is to come from this edge right here exactly to 23 millimeters center of your key line. So it's 30 millimeters, so 15 millimeters is center line, so you could make yourself a little mark here and then sort of draw an imaginary line, and that's where you want to drill a 5 millimeter hole. If you're pretty confident that your center line is pretty good here, probably don't want to do this with a bunch of fuel in your tank. Get a good start. All right. So I had a little bit video audio issue, so I'm basically going to narrate here. I'm now using a 3 millimeter drill bit to drill right through that 5 millimeter one that you've drilled earlier. And then I use a punch and I basically wiggle the latch backwards towards the back of the bike while lifting on the front flap. And that will allow for your fuel cap to open. So now you can gain access to your fuel filter, your fuel pump. This tank, as you can see, is just horrible, so I'm gonna have a little bit of work to do here. So I'm going to apologize again for the terrible audio here. I will have to narrate. So here are the items that I used to fix the K100 fuel cap access. A micrometer set to 23 millimeter. Used some blue painter's tape and a pen. Use some sort of a straight edge so that you can draw a line from the keyhole down to another measurement on the hinge. I used a 5mm drill bit. and then a 3mm drill bit. You drill the 5mm hole first, and then you drill the 3mm one right into the existing hole of the 5mm. Used my drill, and then of course I used the punch. And with the punch, you insert it from the top into the hole, and then you move it, you wiggle the latch towards the back of the bike. And then you can grab the front tab and should be able to rotate the fuel cap open. If you found this content helpful at all, please consider giving me a like and a subscribe. It really does help out the small channel I'm trying to grow here. On another matter, some folks are, I guess, indicating that they are actually leaving this hole in the fuel cap because it does gain you access in an emergency situation. They just simply take that little hole that you drilled and fill it in with some sort of a rubber plug or something. And then if an emergency arises and you need to get into it, but your key somehow does not work to open it, you can remove the little cap and then use a punch or nail, screw, whatever you can find to at least still open your fuel cap in an emergency. So to me that makes sense. I'll probably do that. And yeah, I'll let you know what I decide to do and if I can salvage this tank or if I have to start all over with a new tank. Thanks for watching.